open the meeting and start with roll call. We'll start with Wayne and Josiah. When I say your name, will you say your full name and that you're here? Wayne?
Wayne Sawchuk here.
Josiah? Are you there? Okay, we'll come back. Garrett?
Garrett Lubitz here.
Tucker
Meehan here.
Mark?
Mark Cameron here.
And Carolyn Coffey here. Does anyone have any updates on the bidding process? Do you know anything new from the other night?
Vertex is not on, no, other
Okay.
than the bids the sub bids were rolling in, the trade sub bids were rolling into Vertex or Commodore, I should say, on Monday. It was an extension from Friday to clarify some of the liquidated damages that was contradicting itself in the contract. Just like Josiah.
Oh, Josiah, would you say your name and that you're here? Oh, you're muted. Oh, he's driving. Okay, it's okay. He's tuning in. All right, he's here. All right. So an update on the PR efforts. We met at the end of last week. I don't think we
met on Monday, actually.
But we had a meeting Monday night, so there really isn't an update. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all a blur now, but
There's no updates. The only thing that we are waiting on is Justin is editing the website, taking the stuff down.
and crafting a postcard
Yes, and crafting the postcards.
for the 427 meeting.
Is that a
And,
postcard draft over there?
Yes.
do you have a draft to show us?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
If I may approach the chair.
You may, please. And then also editing the,
We can pass it around and we can be as critical as you want. It's obviously blown up. But it'll shrink down, obviously, into a postcard. I think that.
well, we'll just, it's probably not the proper forum for editing, but
Yeah.
if you can email a copy to
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
Then-
Yeah.
And then we can share our suggestions.
Absolutely. We wanted to keep it kind of simple. We didn't want to make it too complicated. We kind of want to know what, when, where, why, how on there. But we don't want to obviously make it too crazy. The QR code takes people to the town hall committee's webpage. And where we'll get the videos up, and we're working on the webpage right now. We're breaking down that page and then put it back up. Video number one, I spoke to Chris, and if you're all right with it, we're gonna post video number one, and we did a second video today with David Farad, where we're gonna kind of go through the top 3 critical areas, and we can clarify that even more. And then I'm hoping to do a video with folks, asking them about town hall and what town hall means to them. Folks who live in the area, and folks who people know, and then hopefully you and I are gonna shoot something early next week when we get back on Tuesday. And I figure, David Farad wants to add that possibly, and I don't know how this works, if we can play a video at town meeting. We didn't know if you wanted to be kind of on that video that we play at town meeting.
Well, we should probably discuss, in a
Yeah,
PR committee or in a, whether we want to have a PowerPoint presentation with a, someone speaking to it, or whether we want to do the whole thing in a video or have a mix. I would kind of see like a PowerPoint presentation, breaking it up a little with an existing conditions, even if it's shorter than what's on, just 30 seconds of things, just to, make it come to life, maybe.
Yeah, and whatever you think is best.
We can map that out in our
Yeah,
next
yeah,
PR
absolutely.
committee meeting.
Just-
No, go for it, sorry.
No, I have a, keep going.
No, I was just gonna say, I know you're very passionate and got a great voice and very confident. When you speak in front of folks, I think you would be great on camera if we wanted to do a video for town meeting.
But
we'll
we'll,
determine that later, so.
In terms of the postcard mailing. I imagine the QR code would take the folks to the most relevant information about what it's gonna cost. which
We
is-
could do that, that's.
I mean, I would think that's probably what they're gonna be most curious about, so.
I think it's supposed to take them to our website.
Yeah.
And our website, if you scroll down, is gonna have all the.
Yes.
Did you see the Hingham website for their override?
I did,
That, I thought that was really well laid out and very navigable.
Yeah.
Can we set up something like that with
Yeah.
buttons instead of
yeah,
titles of documents that don't mean anything?
yeah, we absolutely can, so that was part of, so there's a place called Cohasset Connects on our page.
Yeah.
And that is their news feed where they posted that information, so we can do that, and that news feed can also have information. And that can direct them to the actual page, the actual web page. And the only reason I say web page is because depending on when you get that information that you want to put out, we may have to get this postcard out before you get that information.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, when does, regardless of, because we're not gonna have the financial components until the 24th, the
Yeah,
Monday, the
yeah.
24th.
So I
So-
will get this postcard out next week. Like,
Yeah, so I think, if we could, not necessarily on here, but at least when they get to, folks can understand that there's a reason and a process why the number isn't prepared now. We have the numbers to date.
Yeah.
And it's currently out for bid, and when it comes in from that bid, the number will be up, the total project budget will be updated based on those numbers. And it is, again, reminding folks of having the bids valid for May 1st town meeting and the town election on the 13th.
Mhm.
And that's why that philosophy is done. So you're thinking of sending this out next week?
Yeah, so I put it out for a quote, and I'm waiting to hear back from our folks. On a quote for the postcards. The cost, and this is really basic, this is an approximate cost, I think. Last time we sent out postcards, so we did postcards was only by law, it was. I'd say somewhere around 1,500, 1,600. It's about 800 for printing, I think another 500 or 600 for mailing. And this goes to every single person in town. Not one person is left out, or be left out. Yeah,
And one other comment regarding
yeah,
the buttons there, the way that Hingham did there. I think it was nice because you pull up an actual address, and people are obviously probably most concerned about their own address.
so that's, when you refer to button, you're talking about the tax calculator.
Well, that,
Exactly, so it
there's-
wasn't
there
so much
two
putting,
different things.
oh, okay.
There's two different things. There were buttons that, floor plans, you can.
Oh, that's easy, yeah.
Instead of just, a link to the title of the document.
Yeah.
It's clear. If you want to see the floor plans, you click this button.
Yeah, we can
If you-
absolutely do that.
So-
That's easy. Yes, yes.
And as far as the override numbers, again, it's important for people to remember, it's the assessed value, not market value.
Yeah,
And instead of people putting in an arbitrary round assessed value, you went there, you picked your street from a drop-down menu, and then you picked the number of your house on the street. So it really wasn't, it took all of the
Guesswork.
guesswork out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
so in terms of that, building that, I spoke to one of the potential, I actually spoke to a company who built it for Hingham.
Mhm.
And that is not something that can be done overnight. That is gonna actually take some time.
Yeah.
But we can't do that once we start the process.
And it's time, we have enough time?
So it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna be ready by May 1st, I can tell you that.
Okay.
There is a possibility that it could be ready over the next 5 to 6 weeks. But we have to get that process moved. There's a lot of but information in terms of procurement and
Yeah.
and all that.
So So it's probably not an option then for us, if we can't do it before May 1st, really. Before May 1st and even the election,
Yeah,
probably.
it doesn't make sense to do it at all, but I don't,
Just because it pulls from a lot of it.
Yeah.
I believe it pulls.
there's a spreadsheet on the assessors.
Yeah, it pulls from GIS and it pulls from assessment data. And so we would have to enter into a contract with them. But it would take several weeks. I mean, by several weeks, somewhere anywhere between 2 weeks and 4 weeks.
If this idea isn't gonna work out, do we want to at least try the backup we had of
Yeah.
at least having a calculator that you can, if we have a link to like, find out what your house is assessed for
Exactly.
here.
Yeah.
No, like, find it out, and then you can have like, I mean, we could have you must be able to build a very basic calculator, right, that just says
No,
like,
we can build a chart that's, basically by $25,000 increments,
yep, Great
if
point.
your house is assessed at this, it'll cost, and it's formulaic because it's a mill rate. So like the mill rate for the town is $11.80, and it will add, if we have X amount of debt, it will add this many cents to the mill rate, and, it can be all laid out there.
So one thing, just taking a step back about the website that we're linking to. I just want to be cognizant of the fact that we're providing a QR code. So most people who are accessing it through a QR code are going to be doing it through their phone,
True.
not through a computer.
Yeah.
So whatever that site that gets linked to should be optimized for a mobile experience, not a desktop experience.
Yeah, so our website Civic Plus is optimized as best as we can.
Yeah.
For mobile, I don't have any control over that.
Okay.
Um,
But in terms of.
But we'll
just the
also
formatting
have
of,
on there.
having it, so when you land on that page,
Yeah.
that it looks, that you're seeing it on, one screen as opposed to
Yeah.
dropping down too many screens.
Yeah,
and I'm happy to check back in with the vendor and see if if there's any way that we can speed it up.
Is there also a way to provide a physical link that maybe gets wrapped up in weekly email that goes out? I mean, obviously, that's not everybody in town, but there's many people in town that have that get the weekly update from
Yeah,
Chris that comes either from you or Megan, James.
Yeah.
mhm.
At least have the link in there, more ways to get it out, the better.
Yeah.
I think that's excellent.
Yeah, 100%.
And then maybe, I don't know if there's any other ways that we could.
Well, we could certainly post it at like the library, the pool, right? No one's gonna be there right now, but the library, we could put it up, I don't know, any of the others. Wilkes Commons, we could even see if we could put it at the fire station or anything like that. I don't know why people would be there, but they may be. We can put it here on the bulletin board,
The postcard or.
a link or something that getting
Yeah.
people to go there, right?
Yeah, what I like though is, I think that being able to look at the renderings and everything on a desktop will give people and you're not gonna be able to read the floor plans on
No.
here. So if you're
Yeah.
interested in any of the
Yep.
detail, you need to be able to see it on a bigger screen.
Yeah.
So having it, figuring out ways, whether it's, through social media, somewhere where you can push a link and it's not necessarily just on your phone.
Yeah, we can post links anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
anywhere and everywhere that we can.
Yeah,
Other venues
yeah.
and-
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
Obviously, things gonna look a lot different on a phone than it does on a
Mhm.
big computer screen. Those buttons are easy to make, and I'll follow up with vendor again tomorrow and see if we can push them forward, and see if we can move it forward quicker. There's just, as I understand it, there's some behind the scenes procurement work and contracts and things that have to get that we have to work through. But believe me, I'd love to jump in tomorrow. But I'll give it a read tomorrow and see what they can do.
Then I'll take a stab at a spreadsheet, and I'll also reach out to Jennifer to confirm some numbers before anything gets published. Right, let me, is there anything else on the PR that we need to talk about? Wayne or Josiah, do you guys have anything you want to chime in with?
I'd like to come up with a couple of different things here. One is, I think we want to make it that the present condition is not anybody's fault today. It's the fault of, but we should have something that's really before and after, that's showing us and putting more emphasis this time on the existing town hall and less emphasis on the annex, despite of what the costs are and stuff. But I think we haven't done anything to the existing town hall for over 100 years. And we can't say that to the annex that might have different problems to it. And so I think it's if we can do things like here's the look of the town hall now, and then here's another look with the handicap ramp or some of the landscaping. A look inside the auditorium, look at it today, but this is the way it's gonna look tomorrow. And, you know, go backstage and say these are the dressing rooms, but these are the dressing rooms we're gonna have here. That are very simple, just like before and after, you know, this is before, this is after, because I think Mark and I certainly agree that this town hall, the people of the town of Cohasset would never vote to tear down and rebuild the town hall. Just,
No, I agree with you there. Natalie, I sent an email a couple days ago asking whether it would be possible to get renderings of the interior of this old building. And I don't remember seeing a response to that. Is that something that you guys can pull together as something we can use to help people get excited about the project?
Interiors of the old building, like the
Yeah,
auditorium.
this room, the auditorium and the foyer in particular, the front foyer in particular.
Yeah,
where-
I don't think we have detailed, I will have to look into it. I know that Phil kind of briefly mentioned that he did not have them earlier, so I'll have to check.
We haven't seen them yet, but can they be made?
I'm sure they can be. I'll just have to check on the timeline. Is that okay if I get back to you tomorrow
Yeah.
morning?
Yeah, of course.
absolutely.
But you know, to your point, Wayne, I think that would be a really great selling point if we can actually show people rather than just tell people how great it would be.
Yeah, and it can be.
Like a use space, a lively space.
Yeah.
That's
So that's great. Is there anything else, you guys?
Well, I don't know if there's anything we can do with it, but I appreciate the point that Wayne brings up of. There really hasn't been very much
Yeah.
money put into this building in 100 years, and it shows when you put money into something, right? The right amount in the right way, it pays off for a long time, you know? I mean, that's a long time not to have to do a major renovation, you know?
Well, it went from 1857 to 1928.
Which is very long.
70 years, so we're trying, it's
Time, but I think that it's a good point to stress in what we're doing is that like if you kind of do it
Quality at last.
at last, yeah.
Yeah.
If you do it right though, right, it pays off in the long run.
And just, you know, again, it hasn't been renovated or significantly renovated since 1928. Although along the years since, there's been systems that have been added, is why you can see exposed piping in here. You know, obviously all those radiators and radiator covers are not from 1928, but it's had add-ons since, and they're tired too, and the add-ons have reached their life and need to be refreshed too, so. This will bring the structure and the facility back to the way it was intended to be.
Right, and include in that things like the existing building isn't even sprinklered, but the annex was sprinklered. Now, how could someone even make a decision on that, on the fact that, you know, there's so much in the old town hall that is more combustible and everything than anything that was put in with the fireproof sheetrock and the addition and everything else, and then having no, you know, sprinkler system there, none in the town hall. So, you know, that's just like one item. Then, of course, the
You
other.
wouldn't even get away with that now. I mean, if it was a historic building, you could argue that the piping takes away from the historic, you know, if you go into an old church or something, right? But clearly, that's not what we're against here with the exposed piping. In the there was a reason. It was just probably a cost issue, and adding sprinklers here was another issue, another element to the budget.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're waiting to be invited.
Go me to glass.
You can just say, you want to just tell them they're ready whenever they are.
And I'm sure the digital clock on the wall doesn't.
I mean, that's not original.
That's not original.
Oh, Lisa's still in there, so they must still be talking about it.
Replace the movie projector. The clock.
You want to put a projector back?
That's what the code was.
Yeah, they would like to be able to gain access to the old projection room. That's, I don't know how it's even built in there. For them to be able to put their lighting person and stuff in it during plays and things like that, rather than being on the ground floor in the corner by a storage room where they can't see everything as well.
Is the space still there, Wayne? That the
I
projector room?
haven't been in it, but apparently it is.
Huh,
I think it says
Huh.
the stairway off of
there's,
there's a hidden stairway where one of the vaults is in what used to be the Board of Health, which is now the sewer office and that area.
Exactly.
With plans, what the architect must have gone through it, but I don't know if they, whether they said 5-foot ceiling here, so you can't do anything, or whether the projection room that is 6 by 8, or something like that. But the opening is still exposed. As you go in the lobby, the ceiling isn't as high as the rest of the auditorium because there was space used there. The original selectman's office was up there and in the front and things like that. So, but just just another point, that's all. That comes out later.
Minus our business with them is, I don't think we have anything else on the agenda,
That's the
right?
last thing on the agenda.
unless Vertex shows up.
True.
I wouldn't expect much because I don't think they're gonna have seen the numbers yet either. I mean,
Yeah,
they're still, Commodores, I'm sure, still putting them all together and compiling. It's not as quick and straightforward as one would think, that just grab them all and throw the numbers in.
I have a question. Is the recording on for this meeting?
Mhm.
It is? Okay, someone turned it on. I didn't hear it.
Justin's
Okay,
running everything.
all right. I didn't hear this meeting's being recorded or whatever it is that we always have. I didn't realize everyone else did.
I didn't hear it,
I didn't hear it
but I
either.
do see it in the top left.
Yeah.
screen.
Great. Just as long as we're following precedent. Or procedure, I should say.
Prior to the delay, the other committee is finishing up their business. I had it on good authority that it would only be 15 minutes, but here we are.
A meeting taking longer than expected.
I know, exactly.
Happens.
In a blue moon. You said maybe up in Q. Talk about that or not? Maybe later.
Wait. I didn't even look at it. I just pulled it up and sent it to you.
Great.
You said you wanted it.
I did. I just want to know if you were worried about it.
No, no,
I'm.
I have not. I did this. One step at a time.
So awesome. I'll do the first one. I bet it's in the back.
That's right.
Great.
Can I ask Natalie if there's anything that they haven't finished up and passed on? And if so, what might they be? Or at what point are you going to be 100%? Or what point are you at now?
Oh, so we are waiting. Shop the changes required by structural. And they're providing a narrative for that. Hopefully tomorrow morning we'll see that. And then whatever we see in that narrative will inform our change. Probably not that much. It's mostly structural, really. And then we give that to the Commodore, to Geometrisk, and they update their numbers.
Okay, so that is the only thing the architect is working on now. No other.
Yeah, we call it the basically the next addendum. We're collecting, there is also some RFI questions that we received from Commodore that we're responding to.
Okay.
It's kind of a list of things that we go through.
So you're 99%,
Probably, I would say, probably 99.
probably?
Yeah.
Probably 92 or 93.
I mean,
I mean, it's just.
sure, yeah, 99 sounds good to me.
Did Safe Harbor move down to the basement? Not Safe Harbor, 143 TV.
We did not incorporate that change.
Wasn't there some discussion that they would move down to the flex space in the basement?
Yes.
I think the last official directive we had was that we swapped places with the staff room, etc., on the second floor. And then I believe, I don't, I'll have to double check this, but I believe the last one I heard was that we were waiting for some information on what is needed for the TV in the flex studio, if it goes there. But, or flex space rather.
Okay, we'll follow up with that. I just noticed in the floor plans that.
Yeah, we still call it flex space, I believe, and TV studios on the second floor of
Yeah,
the original town hall.
But you were doing the town manager's space, you were flopping those over, or you're not flopping those over?
Sorry, what?
The town manager's space.
We added the assistant town manager. That was the last change that we did to that space.
Okay, so that's all done. Okay,
Yeah, that's incorporated, I believe.
okay.
I'll go and double check right now, but I know we changed it.
It's a significant enough project that there are always, I mean, it's the reason why we have change orders. There are always things that we were going to do and didn't do, or we'd like to do, but we didn't know what to do, or all those other little things that happen. And, you know, in the end, we're gonna have 150 change orders. Just, you're gonna do it. And so the most that you can get, the least you can have is the better it is.
Yep.
And we're waiting for what committee?
Historic district or common historic district.
Cohasset Common Historic District Commission.
Oh, yes, okay.
We're just, that we have a short PowerPoint that, you know, gives them the Reader's Digest version of what the process has been and shows the exterior renderings for them to take a look at. And then I'm sure that, and we'll have Natalie kind of address the philosophy behind the facade and the design. And I'm sure they'll have some questions about materials and that sort of thing, many of which we won't be able to answer yet. And we will continue consulting with them, but just, you know, want to get their feedback and hopefully buy in on the changes.
We never want to forget that the town is exempt from having to go through that process, but it's a nice thing to do.
Which explains why we have
What we have,
electrical boxes on the common and Darth Vader's mailbox out there. And all those things that are not necessarily in keeping with the 1700s feel of the common. Text the chair.
I wonder how you got his number.
Carol, I don't know if you want to do this, but sometimes the chair of the select board will take like a short recess, if you want to do that. I can just,
Pause it, yeah, go ahead and
Yeah.
pause it, that's a good idea.
so I think you have to take a vote.
Oh, is there a motion for a short recess?
second,
As I know, so.
Motion.
Motion. And a second,
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
short recess, Wayne,
yes.
okay. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we are live again and recording. So we are going to gavel back in and start with a roll call for the Town Hall Building Committee. When I say your name, please state your full name and that you're here. Garrett,
Garrett Lubitz here.
Tucker,
Tucker Meehan here.
Mark,
Mark Cameron here.
Wayne. You're muted.
Wayne saw Chuck here. Thank you.
Thank you, and Carolyn Coffey here. And for the benefit of people who are on here, will you please open your meeting and do the same thing?
This is the Cohasset Common Historic District Commission, and I'm John Coffey.
Joy Schiffman.
Randy Winnery. Alex Vanderwell.
Thank you. And thank you very much for putting us on your agenda for tonight. We have been working on this project for a very long time, as most of you probably know, and are really excited to share the renderings with you guys and get your feedback on the exterior and get any thoughts that you might have on materials and that sort of thing. I think this will be a back and forth interaction. In many places, we do not have materials chosen, but we have allowances in place. And as we get further down into the process, those materials, decisions will have to be made, and we'd love to get your input. So thank you guys for being here, and sorry about the two different locations for the meetings and everything else. Great, we started it. Thank you. This is our team. The only people who are missing, we have Josiah Stevenson, who's an architect, and Phil Lair, who
Used
is.
to work for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was on earlier, but he was in the car and dropped off. And Phil Lair is our chair, but he caught something that he's not happy with having from his grandson, so he is unable to be here today. But both Wayne and Mark are in the building trades, and we do have, as I said, Josiah the architect, so it's been great having them involved. We also have with us Steve Kirby from the Vertex Companies, who's our owner's project manager. They're our representative with the trade. They are representing our interests with the architects, with contractors, that sort of thing. And then Johnson Roberts Associates is the architecture firm that was chosen to help us with this project, and Natalie Arengross is joining us today to be able to answer any questions you might have. You guys are probably aware that this building is in desperate need of some attention and has been studied actually 4 times. This is the 4th time we've gone through this project. The first time we just looked at Town Hall in 2007 and 8, and the financial crisis derailed that. Then 2014, the town's needs changed, and so we looked at it again in 2018, at which time the designs passed at town meeting, but it required a debt exclusion to finance it, and it failed at the ballot box by something in the order of 27 votes. So the building was studied from top to bottom. Engineering firms came in, did all kinds of analysis to see exactly what needed to be done to renovate it, gave an idea of how much that might cost to do. The selectmen then reconstituted the committee and gave us a charge, which included providing safe, functional, flexible space that could last, be good for the town's needs, not just today, but in the future. And that it remain on the town common. We actually, as part of the 2018 analysis, looked at every town-owned parcel of land and every commercially available building at that time to see what our options were for a town hall. The only place that was viable was behind the library, and we did a survey of the town, and it was overwhelmingly favored that we leave it here. So that was part of the charge for this. And then, as you guys know, just looking around the building, it's in need of a lot of updates. It needs a new roof. All the systems are at the end of their useful life. It doesn't have enough space for the town employees or for the meetings that we would like to hold in 2 places at one night. It's not accessible, all those good things. So, we revisited all of the space needs to make sure that, we were up to date with what the town wanted. We set some priorities, which included making sure that the, offices that get visited the most by the public were most accessible. So that would be the town clerk and the treasurer collector, and the building department would be on the first floor. And we made sure that we were meeting our contractual obligations to organizations like Safe Harbor and 143 TV, and set about making our design. So the, we're 2 slides forward. Keep going, sorry. So this is what the front view of the exterior would look like. I'm sure you guys know, and I'll, Natalie, I'd get you to chime in now about what Massachusetts requires when you're adding on to an historic building that, you know, it's supposed to be complementary but subservient to the building. And I think there's probably better words to use, but that's what's in here. Natalie, do you want to talk about
Our
the
approach.
code is and everything?
Yeah, so in approaching this project, we followed the Secretary of Interior guidelines for restoration and renovation of historic buildings. Which means that, you know, anything that we do to the building, we will minimize the impact. We will recognize the use of the building, and it actually was historically a town hall, and it stays that. Any upgrades of mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems will be limited and sensitive in nature to the existing interiors and exteriors of the building, historic building. And we're trying to retain and preserve the features that are there, and not introduce any features that, you know, we might think look nice. If they don't belong, they don't go there. And the addition is kind of taking cues from the original historic town hall building in overall significance and the purpose and the use, and its kind of stature on the common and in the town. And we use complementary kind of approaches in design, materials, finishes, etc. And yeah, if we have to replace any, say, deteriorated rotten wood features, etc., of the historic buildings, we'll match the new to the existing, so that we get to preserve that history a little bit longer. And obviously no chemicals, etc., we will use on the buildings or a historic portion of the building that might damage it in any way.
So you can see the design here. The idea was to make it fully accessible and use the ground, use ramps where we could, where we wouldn't have to put in rails and walls and everything for accessibility. You know, we can, this temporary one out here, it isn't doing the trick. And so it's gonna look, there will be a little bit of a rail over in front of the old town hall, because the grade is just high enough, which doesn't
that's
show
not
on the ramp.
right, but it's not a real ramp that requires double rails, etc., and it looks a lot heavier and more impactful on the exterior of the building. It's more lightweight.
I should call it a sidewalk, not a ramp, because a ramp.
Yeah, it is. We're trying to keep it
These sidewalks.
sidewalks.
With proper grading to get around that. And then you can see they made the main entrance of town hall facing east. And the beautiful thing about their design, if you want to go to one more, Justin, when you walk straight in, it goes straight to these double doors into the auditorium. So you walk in, there's a foyer, you have the offices that you might want to visit on the right and left. If you keep going, you get right to these doors. So it's a straight shot, very efficient building. The building then goes out, obviously, evenly on each side.
And the intent here of the door was a single point of access for individuals with or without accessibility and mobility issues. So currently, we have a back entrance that is often utilized with a set of stairs that, and the premise of this design and best practice currently is to have everybody enter through the same door, not single folks out with mobility issues.
More inclusive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this provides that entrance. The handicap spots for this are on the back side. The official handicaps, due to the ramp and the grading, that's the closest spot for them to be able to get in. And everybody would enter through that same door, obviously separate from entering the auditorium space.
So is so if you look at the left side of that rendering, that is further out into the grass than the current front of the.
I think
Addition.
Natalie, the left side here?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so we're gonna lose one window here.
Or you mean where the addition comes into the.
Right,
Yeah.
Yes.
we're gonna lose one window, right, Natalie?
What is the square footage before and after?
Each floor, so that obviously this building stays the same. I think it's about 3,000 square feet more.
The new one? Yeah, they're in the low 20,000
Yes.
range altogether, including the auditorium and everything. Each building is about 12,000 square.
But
feet.
there's also less hallways, less of those features in the new design than we currently have in the addition.
The new building is a much more efficient building in terms of getting from point A to point B and wayfinding and
So complementary in the same kind of classical style, but subservient with what, like, it seems a bit less ornate, the detailing is
Exactly.
subtler.
and setback,
Yeah.
you know, like this is still gonna be more forward facing. You know, we intend to try and preserve the cedar tree here that will act still as a little bit of a screen so that the old town hall. And we're also hoping to preserve the big flowering tree that's in the middle, even though we're gonna lose that driveway and make that green space.
Yeah,
Where
that's good.
the
Yeah, we definitely try to kind of enhance the overall or show the overall significance of the existing historic building versus the kind of subdued but complementary addition.
exactly.
And Natalie, can you just remind us on the roof line, is the roof line of the annex, the new annex gonna be slightly lower than
It is lower, yes.
so it's slightly lower to create that sort of sense of hierarchy, if you will.
Yep.
Okay.
It's lower and it's set back, so considering perspective, it will look, this is actually a pretty good representation if you were to stand on the common across the street.
It's a little tough to see from that, still, but it just,
Yeah.
so you can highlight that.
What are the standards you're referencing, the subservient?
It's Natalie, it's the Massachusetts law or code.
Well,
of-
yeah, it follows the Secretary of Interior guidelines for historic restoration, renovation, and treatment of historic buildings.
Massachusetts Secretary?
Of Interior.
Or is that,
I think
that's federal, that's
Yeah,
federal,
that's
right?
So, yeah, that's federal, but it's basically adopted by towns and states. et cetera.
So that was pretty much the presentation. I mean, we can give you all the reasons, you know, that about interior changes and the needs that will be met and everything else, but the exterior I know is what you guys are gonna be at least for the purposes of this meeting, most concerned about.
Yeah.
Are there any questions that we can answer for you guys?
My only question, I love it, love everything about the way it looks, the black windows. Cause I have to talk about windows. I know that's super popular right now. Is that historically correct? What color are they now?
They were
They-
originally black.
They were,
Yeah.
We've come full circle.
I love
With-
that answer because it looks terrific, but
Does.
Yeah, and as far as colors are concerned, at least, we will be looking at them a little bit further along the line.
And I think
yes, the renderings were
further-
made, yeah,
yeah.
were made with black, but no decision has been made yet.
they could be white. We're not at the point that like when we
Gotcha.
It's not
approve
enough.
that.
It's not
Yeah.
enough.
We have to approve the, yeah, white and black are the same price.
what does our bylaw say about, because the common was also very colorful.
It was,
when
yes.
This was built and that's just not in the.
And this building was
1974
very-
bylaw that we follow now, right? It's.
But there was a bit of a furor when the white that reads yellow went on the building.
I
And,
got calls on vacation. I
and
was like, I had nothing to do.
so,
It was not well received, so I don't think we'd be.
so I think there'll be a white that reads white.
A white.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it looks great.
The roof would, the
We
roof
can't
would be,
like on the color. obviously, yeah.
On color,
There are
okay.
bylaws, exterior, I'm just looking at the bylaws.
Yeah, but the window color.
the roof would be an architectural asphalt shingle. It would not be
Yes.
slate or anything. It'd be,
What about the cladding?
it would still, for the siding, it would be the same siding, so. We're not replacing the siding, we're not, this is not a gut renovation. We will not be losing all of the features on the inside of this building. They'll be opened up and as needed. We won't be re-insulating this building. In accordance with the guidelines of the preservation. It's not a full gut and rent. It is, so we'll be upgrading the systems, we'll be tucking them in places. So that you don't architecturally see the piping from inside. But it is not the building's been breathing for hundreds of years and we're not looking to change that makeup of it tremendously by trapping moisture within the wall cavity.
we did an analysis of that and determined that we were at risk of mold. If we tighten things up too much.
Yeah.
And then-
But on the new part of the building, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Natalie.
Yep.
We're looking at using a hardy plank type of
Yes,
product.
it's,
that will
yeah,
look
we're,
Wood,
Yep. Yeah, I have it in my
but
house.
will hopefully age.
And
And
the paint will stay
it
on.
lasts fairly long. And it's complementary in appearance. It does not look the same as say vinyl siding. It doesn't have the same shine.
Yeah.
Looks more like-
Composite material? Yeah. It's like concrete.
It's like a cementitious concrete.
Yeah.
And yeah, I believe we specified the artisan line of the hardy, which is kind of a slightly higher, sturdier grade.
it will wear a lot better and make a difference in the operating budget of the town over time.
Yes.
Natalie, could you just, for those in the room, could you just give a brief summary of the windows that we would be putting in and the alternates that are in play?
Yeah, so the windows, that's to be determined. I think the final decision needs to be made on that, but we have looked at different options at restoring the windows in the historic building, at replacing them in kind, replacing them with replica, etc. And the base bid right now is replacement windows that look the same but are energy efficient. And the alternate is to restore the windows. And make
So is
them,
that for changing them, is that the simulated divided light?
Yes, it would visually, from
Yeah.
a distance, it would look the same.
Yeah.
The base option is a more modern style where it's two panes of glass. You have that double.
Yeah,
And we-
insulated
insulated
glass.
panel.
and it is a simulated divided light, so it has a spacer between the glass instead
Yeah.
of just the applique.
When you get up close to it, you'll
Difference.
realize
There's
it's
a big
not a
difference.
old window,
Yeah,
Same configuration of the windows.
same configuration.
Same configuration.
Number 6 or
Yep.
whatever.
Yes,
Are these windows that are on there now original?
some of them are original and some of them are from an addition in the, or a renovation in the twenties.
There are various vintage.
all single pane.
Yeah.
Also, okay.
And they were,
With-
also, there were some, repairs done to them in 2008.
208, yeah.
These also have a variety of storm window configurations, which would in the base bid option of a replacement style, all that would go away. And there would be no storms to manage and operate.
It's just, it's a cost issue more than anything else right now.
Cost and I would say operational.
Yeah.
I mean, to manage putting the windows up and down, the storms, and
Oh, yeah.
it's more practical. It probably
But,
looks
but
better.
the replacement versus
Right.
restoration is a cost issue.
Yes, the restoration is a premium to a replacement.
Personally, I think it'd be fantastic if the insults of the existing original windows could stay. The only other thing I would offer on this is, generally, I'm positive, I think, run by these Department of the Interior regulations, what else can I say, if the following, the official of the US government doesn't get better than that. And my only advice is, as the design progresses into more details, to pay attention to the things that don't appear in renderings, and make sure that, historical items like that appear in the public's view, like plumbing vents and fire alarm devices on the outside of the building and all that stuff that is never shown here.
Yeah.
Nor should it be.
Yeah.
But so that would encourage the architect to pay attention to those details.
Is there anything like that you can think of, Natalie?
I think we have a plumbing vent. I'm trying to double check. I think we actually rerouted it a bit. We have one small one on the historic building, but the rest is rerouted to be in the addition, kind of that link on the back of
I'm
the
referring to the addition.
facing the parking lot.
But that everything is gonna be, not
Yeah.
visible from the common is the point. All those vents and that sort of thing.
One added feature here would be that the through wall air conditioning units that line
Yes,
would be.
we'll lose those. That will help the eye.
No more window units.
That would be the-
We're restoring that siding.
You don't put any like portable takes on the roof, EV chargers?
No.
I'm serious.
No, there is not.
No.
It was looked at, but the
We
placement
learned that
of
in
it,
2018.
it wasn't. It didn't prove to be that much of a benefit.
EV chargers or anything?
Well, they're in the back already.
Any
Yeah.
additional or-
There wasn't any plans to have any additional part of this project. No.
Yeah, I'd make the case, Alex, for the, I'd like the case for the new windows from a sustainability perspective, just that. I mean, to me, and I don't know, you said some of them are original, not all of them are original.
Yeah, it seems to be, it's a mix.
It's a mix, right? I mean, at some point you have to bite the bullet and getting insulated glass, and if you're losing those air conditioning units too, there's a good sustainability story with it.
I respect your point of view, but I do not agree.
It is a very valid argument from both sides.
Yes.
And maybe the front could remain.
If they're
whole.
original, right? I mean, if they're,
Somebody in the audience has a question. If it's all right, I'll ask David, or a statement you let's make, David.
Just one comment, Dave Rudd, 39 Beacon Street. I was on the first two committees of the town hall renovation, 08 and 14. And I would say this is a remarkable improvement to all the things that have been done through the years. And back when the annex, the 1986 portion was made for the town, it was commented, and it was in the paper, that people could drive by and say, who's building their house next to town hall? Because it was so disjointed looking from the old town hall was. So I think with the current plan that there is the architectural drawings as far as how it's going to fit, it's going to be a remarkable improvement for the common from what there is now. And then also, with all the acoustics that'll be with the auditorium, their bathrooms and the ease of being able to flow through the building, it will easily, with things that are done on the common, whether it's the apartment block and things like that, it can be, the town hall can be a conduit once again to the common. That can be used by people for a whole number of things. So I think it will only improve the common in the town as a whole.
The plan is actually to take that space under, with the lower ceiling, and there'll be 6 single, use bathrooms under there. And that way, the building can be open when there are events on the common.
Oh,
People
that's
can
nice.
use those bathrooms even when town hall
Yeah.
is not open to the public.
4 or 6.
I think there's 6.
3 on each side, and then the center
And-
hallway to come into the auditorium.
The current concession area that's back there would be would be the wall, one of the walls that's currently angled would be squared off. And it would be a little small catering kitchen, and this could be used in a manner like the lightkeeper's houses where you could rent this room out and have some sort of activity in here. Wedding showers, baby showers. Actions of that nature.
We've tried to accomplish in like everything we've done is viewing the common itself as one of like the greatest assets of the town. So both functionally, which we didn't get into as much, and aesthetically, we've tried to do as much as we can to improve upon that asset, both improving upon the visuals, right, from what we have now, but also the use of the common and kind of bringing the center of the community here as frequently as possible and making it nice to look at and kind of in keeping with the theme I think people like to see here.
You guys have any other questions or comments?
I'm positive, great job. Thank you
Yeah.
for your
Yeah,
service.
I'm
Good luck.
glad you like it.
Third time.
I really need-
Fourth time.
But who's counting?
Yeah.
Who's counting? Well, thank you all for coming. We don't have anything else on our agenda. Do you all?
Yes, we need to adjourn our meeting.
Yes, we did. That's what I was gonna suggest. We need to adjourn. May I have a motion to adjourn our meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I have a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. All done. Thank you, Justin.